Hello, my name is Ilona, and in this video, I just want to explain some things. I've been away for a while. I was very tired, especially mentally. I was exhausted, physically, I was exhausted, and I've really been working through things in my own process. And I've noticed that I just want to change things. I already mentioned this before that I really want to focus on more spiritual things, spiritual subjects, things like that. And I've noticing, especially lately, that I'm just a bit fed up with the news and watching all these things. And maybe it will change in the future. I don't know. But right now, if I'm just watching things or just on Telegram, all these news things, all these articles, it just kind of makes me a little bit like, ugh, when I look at it. It just doesn't fit anymore. And who knows, maybe some other things will happen that I'm interested in again. And I will start more videos aligned with news. But right now I'm taking a step back. I really want to focus on spiritual things and subjects. So if I am making videos, I'm going to be making more videos about that. I wanted to change that already last year, but I kind of fell into the trap again because I've noticed a lot of people are watching my news videos and not my spiritual videos. I've really seen that. So for me, of course, the incentive is then to make more videos about the news. But right now I'm noticing it's just exhausting me and I need to work with my energy in a better way and just trust then ultimately that will be better for me and that I shouldn't worry too much about, of course, the financial repercussions about that as well, because that will have an effect, obviously. Less people are watching or more people are disappointed that I'm not doing what they want, what they're expecting. So this been a very tough few weeks. I've also working with someone and it's all connected with what I'm talking about. What I'm explaining that I needed to focus differently with my energies, and I unfortunately had programming. Of course, I somewhere along the line, way back, we're talking a long time ago, I've decided to open up my energy for other people because I thought that was a sign of love and that I needed to help people and support them. And by doing so, I've opened myself up of draining of my energy. And I wanted to talk about that because it's so connected with why I'm changing things now. Because I noticed, especially after I was doing my lives, that a lot of people were plugged in, and this is everything to do with me. I'm the one that's opening up this possibility. So it's nothing to do with people, trying to tap in or something. Most people they are not even aware that they're doing it. It's very unconsciously. So this has nothing to do with anyone else. This has to do with me. I was the one opening myself up and I need to, of course, close that. It's my energy. What other people are doing on an unconscious level or conscious level that's not relevant in this case. So she was actually looking at my energy right after I did a live, and she was like, where are all these people coming from? They're like everywhere in your energy. So it was no wonder that I feel, exhausted, especially doing on Monday evening, I would do a live, especially about news. The spiritual life is different for me. It's less exhausting. It's also in the morning, and I'm a morning person, so that fits better with my energy pattern. I'd like to, get up early and then go to bed, early. And especially when you're doing something at night, that's usually not very well. It doesn't fit very well with my energy. And I've noticed that, especially after the Monday evening live, that I would be, all over the place and I needed to calm down again my energy. And now I also know that's because I was open. So some people or some, entities maybe could enter then. It's easier then. And it's my responsibility to close that. So I've been working the past few weeks with her to close all that, to see where the programming is coming from, to look at my centers, in your body, your throat, your third eye, the solar plexus center, the root center, your second center. It's all what's happening in there, and I've went through all those centers and see if there were like convictions I have. And a lot of it was that I really thought I was doing a good thing. But it's not my responsibility to carry out or carry the energy of someone else. Ultimately, we all are responsible for our own energies. But I saw this, or I was convinced, doesn't really matter. I've made that decision that I opened myself. I thought that was supporting people. And really, I was just draining myself. So I've been working on that and changing that. And I think this is very important to, I'm going to just tell you about something personal that was very interesting that happened to me. But I first want to just talk about how you can see this in your own life. Are there people exhausting you? Are there people maybe through guilt or making you feel ashamed or making you feel responsible? Or maybe you've grown up in a situation that you feel responsible for your mother or your father or siblings or with colleagues or in a relationship that you feel that you have to carry things for someone else. Then that is a way of draining you. It means that they have a cord with you, and it's very important to cut those cords because it's your energy and you are the one that needs to decide what you want to do with those energies. And of course, you can always decide, well, I open myself up, that's up to you. But understand that people are tapping into you, that will drain you. And in most cases, in my case as well, there was not much in return for me. I was just kind of giving myself away freely, and it's my responsibility to stop that. So ultimately, if you encounter that with people, I fully understand you can get very angry with other people, but this is something, you look at your anger. That's the anger you carry with you. Like I said, I'm just going to mention later on in this video my own personal experience. Also made me very angry, but it's my anger I need to deal with, and I opened myself up. But now it's time for me to close it down because other people, they're not entitled to my energy, and other people are not entitled to your energy either, whether they are family or colleagues or the situation you are in. It's very important to understand that you have the right to your own energy and where you want to focus on and where you want to take your energy, especially in these dark energies that we're faced with, who have been programming us in all kinds of ways as well. It's very important to take back your power and really focus on what you want to do with your energy. So if you feel drained talking to someone, or if you go against your own feeling, your gut feeling usually, or your intuition, a lot of us, especially if I speak from my personal experience, I was so used to doing things, I didn't even notice I was actually going against my own feeling, my own emotions, my own intuition. So be mild with yourself, give yourself time, but really start focusing on what feels right to me. Am I feeling that this is the right thing for me? Is this something I really want to do? And again, you can always choose to go against. But if you have to do something for, I don't know, for family, maybe you're like, well, I don't really want to do this, but all right, I'm doing this. Be aware of that, and also that it will cost you some energy. That's okay, but then you are aware of it. Most of the time, we're not even aware of it, so we can really make a conscious choice to do something or not to do something. So it's very important. By doing things against your own intuition, you are draining yourself as well, and it gives you the ability for other entities to come in, because you open yourself up for that by opening up your energy. So it's very important to see that in your own life. There may be things that you deal with, maybe you feel like an exhaustion, or it's possibly that there is like a drainage somewhere. So look at that. Maybe if you need help, in my case, I'm doing it with hypnosis, I think. Sometimes I kind of forget how to pronounce something, but I'm using like therapy, hypnotic therapy for that. Doesn't mean that that's necessary for you, but in my case, it was so deep, it was so anchored in my root center, like my safety was attached to it. So it's very difficult for me to let go. And I always felt like I was disappointing people or not taking my responsibility, or I was an awful person if I didn't do that. So I'm now changing that. But maybe in your case, it's not that deep, and maybe you don't need help. Maybe you can work it out yourself. But if you do need help, see what fits for you, because the therapy for me doesn't need to be the right one for you. So always look at that. But it's very important that we start working with our own energies, and we cut all these cords from people, maybe even situations from a long time ago that you're still attached to and still draining your energy. So that's what I wanted to mention in this video. Well, I also want to mention something. I was just talking about something personal that happened to me, just to explain the situation. Because if you close the gate, so to speak, you can end up in some strange situations. So I'm just going to mention that I've been living here for quite some time in this, I rent a very small little house. I'm very happy with it. But my neighbor's always been very nosy. It was also suiting with my energy because, like I said, I wasn't even aware of it, but my energy is very open. So people have a tendency to grab onto it. And she really tried, always poking her head outside and talking to me when I really didn't want to, I just wanted to be left alone. I tried to explain that to her, but she just didn't understand, or she didn't understand the boundaries. And she's years ago, she actually had a formal complaint against me for the company that we rent from, which was quite, it's not nice if someone does that. This was years ago. And so that I was making too much noise, something like that, but it didn't go anywhere because it wasn't based on anything. But anyway, it just continues. But especially in fall and winter, there isn't an issue because we are both in our own houses. And I really don't even know that she's practically there then. But when spring and summer comes along, there's a little, we have little gardens. And I like to sit in my garden. But most of the time, I don't even sit there because then she'll be out. And of course, obviously, she's trying to get attention. You can practically feel that. And there's also something I needed to do. I'm not sure what the garden is surrounded with, like wood around it. And I needed to paint that wood. But I didn't want to do that because, well, obviously then she would be outside because then the gate will have to be open. And she practically gets any opportunity she can get to get onto your energy, she will latch onto it. And it's not just me. She does that with everyone around the neighborhood. And she has a little friends, that she talks, group here that she talks to. So anyway, last week it was quite nice weather here in the Netherlands. And I was kind of sitting outside, and I'm always try to be, as quiet as possible so she doesn't hear anything, or I don't give her anything so she could talk to me in any way. And I was just sitting there, of course, working with this, what I just mentioned. Like I was pleasing people and opening myself up. And I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want this. I want to be, free in my own garden, my own little garden. I want to be able to just sit here without, thinking about if I'm going to open myself up or, it's something I didn't want to do. So I really made a conscious choice to cut everything, every cord I had with her. And like, I'm going to just shut it down. I'm not going to give her any energy. I want to be, free to be able to do whatever I want to do in my little garden. Sit there, read a book, whatever I want to do without her poking around all the time. So I put that in motion. Well, Monday, this is just an example of what happens when you cut people off on a conscious or unconscious level. They'll notice. And it's very possible that they could do things. So be prepared for that. Because then I had someone from the company that we rent the houses from, the little houses, because she filed another formal complaint against me. And she actually got a few people chipped in with her, probably one of her buddies, to back that up, that apparently I was making noises. I was screaming or yelling in English, and it just continued. She had like audio that she could play, which I thought was very strange. But luckily I had that's also interesting because it had to do with the energies, but I had a very friendly, intelligent woman contacting me, and she was just talking, and I think she got the gist of this, that it really wasn't going anywhere, and I don't think this is going to have any effect on me. But the fact that she did that means that there is a file now with me, with the company. Obviously there was already years ago, but there's another one now. Like I said, I'm not afraid at all, but it was in a way very liberating, because I was because I had that conviction on such a deep level. It was very difficult sometimes for me to be, just to not be polite in a way. I would always try to be polite in a way to some people, especially if it's someone is your neighbor. You don't want to cause any drama. I would stick to myself, but I would, in a way, if I would meet her, try to be polite. Well, that's gone now. Because of this, what happened, it's like freeing, it's liberating. Later on, I was thinking about this, most likely because the lovely lady, by the way, mentioned that this audio went on for quite some time. And I was like, why would I be in English speaking? Let's face it, I'm Dutch, so it doesn't make any sense. But maybe in some kind of nightmare, because apparently, according to my neighbor, this was happening at night. I think that she taped an audio when I was talking, how to say this, an English video, that would make sense. And she probably taped this and mentioned that this was happening at night, which is nonsense, of course, because I always tape them during the day. But I think that's what's happening, and I just let it be for what it is. I feel that this has kind of ended, and like I said, very lovely lady, it's kind of, how do you say this? It's all done in a way. But it was so liberating that yesterday, the entire day, it was beautiful. I was painting the woods in my garden. Because I was like, try to say something in a way. I was just open and free. She didn't bother me. I think she once a few times poked her head around, but she didn't say anything. She just left me alone. And it was so liberating. I feel like I can breathe. So interesting to experience that. But that can happen if you, cut off someone who consciously or unconsciously, I don't think she was aware of that at all, try to get something out of you. It's possible that you can face something like this. But like I mentioned, first, it was, of course, shocking, because this is not something you really want to encounter, like someone from your company that you rent from standing in front of your door. But really, it wasn't a big issue at all. Like I said, it was a very friendly conversation, very lovely lady, and it liberated me now. It just feels so freeing, and I feel like finally I can just, do my own thing and be left alone. That's what I wanted to begin with. And so that's it. Actually, for me, it was better. But that can happen, and you should be aware of that. But also trust that if you really cut someone off, that it's not going to have like a lasting impact, or really awful things will happen. If it would continue, if this would continue in another way, then obviously there's still something I need to work out and I need to work through. Of course, there was anger, but I use that anger to paint. So it was a perfect way to, that energy, to use it to paint the wood around my garden. And I really love what the outcome of that. And so I'm very happy with that. It's my anger. It's something I need to deal with. But also give yourself permission to, even though you understand someone, I do understand why she's doing it. I do not accept her behavior, because what she is doing, that's just not going to fly with me, so to speak. That's not how you deal with people. And I really don't have to be polite with her. Even the woman that passed by my house mentioned that you don't even have to say hi to her. And it's so liberating. You really don't have to do anything with someone anymore, and you don't have to give them any energy. And now I can pretty much do this coming spring and summer, whatever I want, in my little garden, and just enjoy it without worrying about her buggering in, or showing a face or trying to bother me in any way. So that's what I wanted to talk about. It's about people tapping into your energy and things that I'm now changing. I'll have to see next week if I'm going to make videos. I'll just have to see. I'll just follow my intuition in that, in what feels right to me, like I've mentioned in the beginning. News is not that interesting to me right now anymore. I more want to focus on those spiritual things. Things like people trying to tap into your energy. How can you work through it? See first off, very important, if you're being drained, really ground yourself and get in touch with yourself, because then you know if you're doing something against yourself, if it doesn't feel right or not. Like I said, I've done so many things. Sometimes I wasn't even aware that it didn't even feel right to me anymore. But now I am more in touch with myself, and it's now easier. And trust your feeling. If something feels off, something doesn't feel right, trust it. You don't need to explain it to someone else. You're not responsible ultimately if other people are disappointed in you, if other people are angry with you. If you really are authentic, in touch with yourself, then it is what it is. And of course, like I said, if you're purposely trying to hurt someone or purposely trying to, get a reaction out of other people, that's something completely different. But if you're really authentic, it doesn't feel right to you, then don't do it. Then see what feels right to you. See what makes you happy. I'd like to leave it at this. Hope to see you in another video. Bye.